What's up guys, Dorki here. We'll be going over a Vengeance Demon Hunter submitted VOD from a viewer. They are playing an 18 fortified bursting volcanic sanguine depths key with an organized group. This was done on stream and there will be more to come, so be sure to check it out. Maybe a bit bigger? Oh god, it's way too big. Whatever is good enough. Okay, anyways. It's a pretty hard key, right guys? 18 sanguine depths. I think this will be a fun one to review. Let's see what happens. Demo lock? Nah, it's an AF lock, unfortunately. That's the first big mistake these guys make. Okay, we're going with pre-meta. I like it. So far UI is actually really good. I like the UI a lot. I think this is like now's UI, right? We've got a good kick tracker. The only thing I don't like so far is that we're not tracking defensives or offensive cooldowns. Like, we don't know when CA's up. We don't know when we have cloak or shroud or whatever. Aside from that, I like this part a lot. We're tracking all our defensive stuff. Chat is half the screen. Oh, maybe. Hold on. You know what? Let's fix this real quick. So what is he playing? He's playing Kyrian. Do they have Event Fear? I don't even know. So we actually do a pretty good job grouping up the mobs. And I feel like this is a really common mistake where people either miss their spikes and they're taking too much damage before grouping the mobs up. But we did get sufficient aggro on the front mobs and then we immediately get them grouped really quickly. So I would assume we're probably going to prop LC Decree and Fel Dev here. Fel Dev, okay. LC Decree, yep. Alright, so we way overkilled there. I don't know if you guys saw what we popped, but I saw we used Blood Barrier, we have Fel Dev up, and we still have spikes rolling for a little bit. Or well, we used the second spikes. At this point, I probably would have gotten my Firebrand rolling, because you really want to get your Firebrand started right away, so that you can start spreading it. But we overkilled a bit. Rogue rips aggro on these animated weapons that spawn. Ideally here too, we want people stopping these animated weapons. These animated weapons are super deadly. Like, Warlock could have used Shadow Fury, Cap Totem. Rogue could have gouged one of them. Maybe could have... Oh man, we're taking so much damage here. See, like, that's the thing. We popped way too much, way too fast. And we're already immediately running. So we could have held that Blood Barrier and we could have held the spikes for a little bit. We could have lived this just fine with Fel Dev alone. And then we can go into spikes and trinket afterwards. Or we could have even started our Firebrand early so that we can start spreading it right away. But like, we're sitting on our Firebrand here, so we should have used our Firebrand by now. We have trees up. Actually, no, we have trees up. I lied. We don't want to use Firebrand here. So good trees. Now, we definitely should have... Okay, we did Brand. That's good. Brand, spikes is rolling. This is the whole kite meta. We're running a little bit too much here. But I mean, it's also not too bad because we don't have a Fire Mage. So we don't have any like flame patches or griefing or anything. And because we had to run so early, it made it a little bit hard to do this pull. But that was not too bad. The pack's dead pretty quick. Do we pop all our cooldowns here? I don't even know if we used all our cooldowns here. And depending on the route, we'll have to see what happens, but we should have tried God meta on the first pull just so that we'll have it up laterwards on to second pack. Like the pack before the boss. Okay, so now this time we didn't group up the mobs very efficiently. Like before I was talking about how we grouped up the mobs super efficiently, we didn't take a lot of damage, but here, the pull just started and we're already half HP with 1 spikes down. Fel Dev, LC Decree. Okay, right here. Is that trees too? Okay, that's fine. Trees is fine here. So ideally I would have liked to use meta by now. You definitely want to meta early so that you'll have it up back later. And then out of that we could have used trees. But this is fine too. Spikes. Meta was a little bit late. But we're living. Okay, now here we super overkilled again. We have meta, spikes, and Firebrand rolling. I feel like this is pretty common in lower level plays. If it was a high key, this would be fine because at a high level, you actually need this amount of stuff to live this kind of pull. But this is super overkill and we panicked a little bit because of how we dropped super low before that. Seems like they're on the Earth Ellie now. Good taunt on the tick. So this was a little bit chaotic, but we're making it work. Our healer died. Now we're kind of monk ass. Is it necessary to use spikes when you have meta up? It really depends a lot. In these type of pulls, yes. And on an 18, probably not. But if you go to a really high key level, you definitely need spikes in meta. Okay, so here's another thing. If we were going to fight this tick by itself, this is a routing issue. Like, we pulled that brute with this pack back here, and that made this pull really hard. We could have easily just done this tick with the brute instead, and you would have done the same number of pulls. It would have been 3 pulls. You have the first pull, you have the second pull that we just did, and then now we're pulling this one guy by itself. So like here, we could have definitely done the tick with the brute, and we wouldn't have struggled with much. Namebase kind of cluttered? A little bit, yeah. The text is a little bit cluttered too. The damage numbers. Probably a new meta? No, I don't think that would change too much. It'll depend on the DPS too much. Okay, so we go over here. We need to tag these ticks fast or they go underground. We do get a tag on them. Silence right away. So something I noticed is that we don't use our brand enough. Like, we should have been spreading our brand on pull. We could have actually pulled this with brand and it'll start spreading while we have our spikes up. But Veldev here is fine too. And then I would have used Firebrand here. Okay, Firebrand's up. Spikes. We're sitting on our LC decree a little bit. Okay, that's fine. We used it there, actually. Oh, we do have a trees tracker. I see. So, like, this is the part where I was saying, if we used our meta a little bit earlier, we would have had it on pull for this. But what do we even have? If I was going into this pull, I would just spikes group them all up and I would ask for trees insta. Is that what we're going to do here? Let's see. Leap on pull. That's a little bit dangerous. As a demon hunter, we don't have to leap on pull. Because when you leap in like that, you take a bunch of melees instantly. Rather than just walking in like a normal tank and just grouping them all up here. Okay, yeah, that's exactly what I wanted him to do. And it actually worked out. We spikes to group them up and then trees insta. This way we'll have our, we can brand here. Okay, good brand. Trinket was a little bit early, but better safe than sorry. And then we'll probably have Feldev out of this. Spikes. Feldev once it's up. And we should be pretty safe. We'll have meta coming up soon. This is a little bit dangerous. In a high key, that would have been mega danger, but it is fine to cheat here, actually. Us cheating here would be super fine because we don't really have anything dangerous for a while now. So the rest of this pull should be fairly easy. We have so much rolling. Our brand is spreading now. We have so many numbers on our screen. This is something we should definitely work on a little bit. Just a little bit less clutter. Also, our team needs to be focusing this brute more. Having this brute up with the pride is actually really dangerous. Our poor healer is just struggling right now. Link so soon, we don't even have 20 stacks on this yet. So, Prides as a Vengeance Demon Hunter is actually pretty easy to tank. Because you can rotate your brand really easily, you have Feldev. You're taking much less reduced damage from magic damage, as we all know by now. And you have pretty decent sustain. Also pretty decent damage for the Pride. Oh no, Doomkins. So like, here I would really like to be able to see what my team has. But I mean, that's more of a me thing. So like, I can tell like, if we need Heart of the Wild or whatnot. But there are many tanks out there who don't really track much, and that's fine too. Oh, LC in the Kree, I missed it, I didn't even see. Brandon spikes for headbutt, a little bit overkill. So generally, when you're fighting single target, we don't want to use this much for a singular boss. Just Brand by itself is usually enough. Veldev, okay. Should be fine for this headbutt still. Okay, we actually missed it, but we do have Brand up. See, like Brand, oh, we parried it. But like Brand usually by itself should be enough. And because it's only an 18 fortified, this boss is dying really fast. So we're not struggling too much. Ideally, I would have liked my team positioning back here so that we have room to kite the orbs if we have to. So like, that was a headbutt without any mitigation, right? How much damage did we take? Bang. So we have to be much more careful with us using our cooldowns here. And we definitely should have used our scale at some point during this. Evasion solo soak, okay. So this is probably our last brand that we need. Like over there, that headbutt didn't do a whole lot of damage with brand by itself. So generally when you're tanking bosses as a Vengeance, spikes should be enough to handle the melees. And when there's a special mechanic, or when there's a gap between your spikes, that's when you want to be using your Feldev or Fiery Brand. This is actually a really Vengeance way of pulling this. Silence into grip, beam out, I like it. We're doing really good. LC Decree, big blast, holy hell. Vengeance damage. Scale, yeah, he's been using scale a decent bit. So this is also a pretty scary part about not having a Fire Mage. When you have a Fire Mage, you want these to be dying super fast. Oh, and we're using Cardboard Assassins too, wow. So this should be pretty easy to tank for the most part. It's more about controlling these mobs and using kicks, using utility. Okay, what I want to see here is, are we going to dodge this bleed? It's super easy as a Demon Hunter, actually. Okay, we Feldev'd it, which is fine, but ideally you just want to be able to leap here and dodge the bleed. So let's see if we dodge the next one. And we do want some type of cooldown tracker here. Having a cooldown tracker for the Sentinels are super useful. So like we ate another bleed, this is actually doing a lot of damage. We need to Fiery Brand here. But for you guys out there who don't know, you can actually just dodge these bleeds by leaping away. And because we had so many cooldowns here, I would have definitely combined that pull with this pull. It actually loses a lot of time fighting that one mob by itself. We had meta, we have brand, we've got trees. We didn't really use a whole lot there. What cooldown tracker for the Sentinels? There are weak auras out there. I'm pretty sure you can probably find one. I have a private one from Yoda, but you guys can probably find one pretty easily on Waggle. So again, these packs are really nothing to tank. Not too much to look at aside from... Oh, I like it. Gateway for the chains. It's pretty sick, Warlock tech. So we gotta be putting our kicks on cooldown here. I'm not sure if we assigned any kicks, because I do know this is an organized group. We definitely should have set up some kicks here. Like, the way I would do this if I was playing with set group, I would just mark these X, Skull, and Square. And I would just put the Rogue on X, put the Shaman on X, or on Skull, and myself on Blue. And you can have the Warlock flex on any of them too. So like here, we're just letting Cass go. In a hierarchy, this is not really acceptable, but 18 fortified, this is fine. Chains, we want to move out a little bit earlier, but that is fine too. That's also somewhere where you want to sort of hold trees on. Whenever I'm tanking these packs, I want to have trees for when I need to get away from the chains. That way, the mobs stay grouped up in here, and they're not following me while I'm running around. So it's a little bit to consider. Auto mark packs, you can auto marker, but I'm not a fan of auto markers because it gives you less control of how you want kicks being done. You can definitely auto mark if you want. That's definitely what a lot of teams still do, even at high level. But me personally, I prefer marking it myself. So far, this is a pretty standard route. We're probably going to pull inside out, right? Inside out, or well, inside with the urn, because the urn is here now. And we'll get Pride off this. You don't just eat the chains as tank. No, they do a lot of damage. You definitely do not want to be eating the chains. Oh wait, never mind, I forgot. We don't have a Ventfear in this group. There's no Ventfear in this group, so we're not using the urns. I probably would have done a different pathing if we didn't have a Ventfear. So we definitely would have wanted to route a little bit different where we don't fight this pack, because this pack is not that great. Our tank just eats the chains? Is he a Vengeance Demon Hunter? Because if so, then yeah, he's probably taking 30% less magic damage from his tattoos. But even then, in a hierarchy, you definitely want to be avoiding them. So Pride here, nothing really special. It's pretty simple for a Demon Hunter tank. Brand. Yeah, like we take no damage from Prides as a Vengeance. We're also doing really solid Pride damage, which is another big strength of Vengeance Demon Hunters. Like I noticed when you're playing a Prod Warrior in higher keys, Prides are so much harder to deal with because the Prod Warrior is taking a lot of damage himself. And we're worrying about killing the Pride. Shrouding this? Okay, interesting. Do we fight this? No, we don't. So this is probably for a Pride timing, but that mini boss back there, oh. So this is a really common mistake that a lot of tanks make. We go into this pack, no spikes, and we just eat a ton of melees right there. Actually, it might have just been the Warden. Might actually just have been the Warden by itself. And we still don't have spikes up yet. That was really dangerous. In a really high key, you would have gotten one shot instantly. Wait. What is happening? So, we didn't spikes for a very long time and we went straight into Fell Dev. We could have definitely used at least one spike at this point. Now, that was pretty good though. We branded a bit early to start spreading it. And over here, oh, this is super chaotic. So, a few things that you have to worry about as a tank. Here, we really want to keep the mobs grouped up. We had these two mobs just sitting back here, while the rest of the mobs are here. We really want to position all the mobs on top of these two over here. We're getting thrown books by 3 mobs over here, and we pulled patrol. This patrol, oh, that was really good roots. This patrol, we should always have someone ready to CC it. This is actually super danger, but we're recovering. We killed 1 Scribe, there's only 2 left. Our rogue can get back pretty easily. The mobs are rooted back there, so really good job on Doomkins. You can microscope those researchers, yeah. That's how you want to move these mobs. So like you see right there, that researcher was moving because we had aggro of it and then we stood next to it and moved it a little bit. But we should have definitely finished these two scribes off before moving on. Our poor healer is struggling super hard on these scribes here. We get a link. Not too sure what happens to Doomkins. So tanking here, living is not that hard as a tank. During this whole entire ring, our job is to try to keep mobs as controlled as possible. Like we have these doubts pooping all over the ground. We've got these scribes that are really hard to move. We did a pretty good job here grouping them up onto the scribe. But now again, like they're pooping on the ground and we run into a situation where we have to move the scribe. I mean, all in all, that was a pretty decent recovery. Alright, Sentinel check. So something you can do as a Demon Hunter is you can use your... What is it called? Spectral sights? Yeah. Spectral sights, and you can tell which one's real. So like you can look up ahead to see if this gargoyle is real or the one up ahead. Doubt? I generally don't like fighting this doubt. These doubts are super awful to fight. We're fighting double doubt here. We need to be very careful about this. I want to see kicks on the turnip. Or not turnip, cantrip. And we do get a quick kick, which is really good. Now here we're doing a really good job moving these. You see how this scribe is being dragged along when you're next to it? This is really good tank movement. This is what I wanted to see earlier. This is what we mean by micro-stepping. You see how the scribe is just following him the entire time? Now we're moving really far and that guy is not moving. But that's fine. I mean, the pack's pretty much done. We're checking the gargoyle, but again, we can use Spectral Sight if we want. So we now know that the gargoyle's on the very last one. And looking at count, this means that we're getting Pride on second boss. So I'm fine with this route. This route's pretty decent so far. Oh, I like this. We're fighting Sentinel plus this 3-pack. There are a lot of times where people are fighting this Sentinel and separating it, but I'm glad we're manning up and fighting this as a double pull. Now, I do want to see us dodging this bleed though. Crushing Strike 2 is actually mega danger. Okay, we do have meta up, so we ate that. It's not the greatest. We should definitely dodge it still. But I'm not too sure if we know how to dodge it here. Like we're taking massive damage with our meta up. We still have Fel Dev. We're Omega fine. So the bleed should be coming soon. Yeah, right there. I just guessed off the top of my head. Now we're probably in a little bit of trouble. We have our bleed rolling. We've got no more meta up. The warden's still alive. We want to firebrand the moment it's up. We're taking massive damage here, I think. It's fine if we cheat, actually. What the hell? Demon Hunter OP? We didn't even die here. So that's another slice we should have dodged. Okay, so we're probably getting Pride soon. Oh no, we need these ghouls here. Right? Let's see. Yeah, we could also Kyrian off the bleed too. That's another thing I completely forgot about. Alright, these ghouls are super deadly. This Shadowclaw here does massive magic damage. But as we know, Vengeance has magic damage hack. So it's not the worst. Was our brand up earlier? Let's see. Okay, we actually got brand rolling, so... That's the damage we take with brand up. These 3 mobs by himself are really not worth fighting since they're only 6 count and look how much trouble we're having fighting this. It's a little bit brave tanking these. We should have definitely used trees here. So we do sit on trees for a little bit. I think we had it much earlier on the poll too. Mentioning tattoos bug. Hey man, it's really good. What can I say? Can you dodge the blade with DK? Yes, you can. You can still... Death's Advance it, or you can try to parry it with Dancing Room Weapon. That's something I try to do a lot. I try to dodge the first one, then I can maybe Dancing or Death's Advance the second one, and then Dancing Room Weapon the third one. Okay, so Pride lost for this boss. Our timer looks okay, I guess. On a higher key, this is like not very good time, but I think on an 18, this might be fine. With Bear, you can dodge with Roar and Soul Shape. Alright, so this boss, pretty easy, nothing much to worry about. As a tank. Okay, so here we should be focusing the ad, not the boss. Every ounce of damage matters a lot on the ad, even the tank's damage. You got slapped as being targeted. This mechanic, you can vanish and you can cloak. But ideally, you want to use it on every even ad. So like the second ad, which is the one coming up, is when there's a bad overlap. We're going to have this ad and castigate at the same time. So it's targeting Doomkins. Doomkins has to pop something big here. That is super dangerous. Our bark was super late. Like, we had to bark earlier there. Also, let me see what happened. So, here's another thing too. We didn't save our LC and Decree for this ad. You really want to be having LC and Decree, Firebrand, or Feldev on that ad. That's usually when the danger happens, but this boss is dying super quick since it's only fortified. Alright, so what do we do now? We need more count. Pulling 3-pack by itself? Okay. We definitely could have gone a little bit bigger here since we do have meta up. Oh, we're checking the route. I see. I know this feeling. Ah, that's why we pulled a little bit smaller. Okay, we're pulling these two with it. We do meta this pull. That's fine, because this pull is pretty dangerous. It's got a ghoul in there, and it's got 2 mobs beating your Relax, I have a route. So, not much in this pull. This pull is mostly just kill and heal. Let's just fast forward this a little bit. Alright, we're fighting the Mega Ghoul pull. Oh, that rogue needs to be really careful there. So we actually don't have a lot here. We overlapped a tiny bit with trees and firebrand, but that's fine because these mobs actually destroy tanks. And we probably need to start running right now. This is super brave tanking these without anything. So are we fighting more? Let's see. Ideally, I want to go down with 75% count just so that we have Pride for the third boss. But it looks like we are going down with a 69 count. Nice. Okay, we should have definitely gotten like 75% count here, but because having Pride on this boss is pretty big. Again, not much to worry about with these packs. Just making sure we get our kicks. Oh, and I do notice that we're using Focus Cake, which is really good. In a lot of VOD reviews I've been seeing, people don't use Focus Cakes. Like, admit it right now in chat if you guys don't use Focus Cakes. You guys gotta use your focus kicks. Boomy's really holding trees? Yeah. I mean, the Boomy's probably waiting for the tank to call for it, which is understandable. So we've got all our kicks up, aside from the rogue. What the hell? We let 2 rack souls go off? Okay, we need to kick these rack souls. I just click it. Yo, you guys have to use your focus kick. One of the biggest steps to approaching higher keys and just being better as a player is to use focus kicks. Or just play Boomy, yeah. Like, you can always go ahead of time. You can put one of these mobs on focus ahead of time and just kick whenever you want. So anyways, we're going into this boss without Pride. A little bit scary. But it's fortified, so should be fine, right? We tanked out spikes with our Brandon spikes. This boss is really easy as a Vengeance too. Like over here, we don't even need to soak a single orb. And we didn't need to Fel Dev here. Fel Deving here is fine for damage, but defensively we should not have. You only really want to be using your big cooldowns during spikes. Oh, and we got hit by a swirly, that's a little bit dangerous. Do have Brand rolling though. Brand spikes for this shouldn't be too bad. This boss is really easy for Vengeance though. There's a lot of magic damage and the spikes you can just pop bigger cooldowns on. Okay, so we didn't need to take that much as a Vengeance because of 30% DR hack. Like, look how little damage we took. We should have left more for our team as a tank. We also brand here, which ideally I would have saved for the spike. What do we have for the spikes? It still lasts for the entire duration, actually. That's completely fine. Warlock Soul stole the tank? Wait. Did that happen? I didn't see it. So, on this boss, because it's almost a 3-minute fight, or well, it's gonna be like 2 minutes and some, we're not gonna need meta until we fight one of the big packs. So we definitely should have popped meta at some point, just for an offensive meta. We do need to be careful not getting hit by the swirlies, but not too much I can say about that. Okay, so over here we meta'd super late, and that's because we had nothing left. Like, we have spikes coming, Brand is not up yet, Feldev's not up. We have to meta here, which is not that great because metaing this late into the boss means that we're not going to have it for one of the scarier pulls. That's something we always have to think about. Especially for bear tank players, you always have to think about where you put your Incarn. Like on this boss, I try to use Incarn a bit early so that I'll have it up for the Gauntlet. Okay, come up, grab the shield. Probably fighting this pack by itself, I would assume. Okay, so this is also a really common mistake. We don't want to be wasting our Silent Sigil here. Using it here means that we're not going to have it when the mobs are actually casting on people, because right now they're not casting on anyone. This is really commonly seen though. Like over here, we have 2 rack souls going off. We could have silenced those, or we could have used our kicks. That's where we need our focuses. Like before we engage this pack, I would have put one of these oppressors on my focus, and then I would have someone else put the focus on the other one, and just insta kick them once they come in. But this is a pretty easy tank to, or this is a pretty easy pulse tank. We could also use our shield to eat these traps too if we're afraid for our melees. Because I do notice that melees here die a lot, even at high level. So we could have shielded and ate these traps for our team. Sigil Flame worth using rotationally? Yeah. Alright, what do we do now? Oh, we're spawning Pride here. Okay, so we're definitely using this Pride to fight that 3-pack. That's like the only reason I can find us getting this pride in the first place. So like this is the thing I was talking about earlier. We're not gonna have meta for an entire minute and 20 seconds. And ideally we want it on either the next pack or the boss pull. Wait, our Boomkin just convoked the pride? Yeah, so we're fighting this pack with pride. That's fine. This is a super danger pull though. We have severing slices, we have massive damage from all these mobs. Echoing thrust. Okay, we're looking a little bit dry here, but we do have the shield. Okay, we ran a little bit early. Wait, what? Do we misclick that? Oh, dread bindings. Never mind. Alright, very sick move. Warlock tech. Oh, we shielded the slice. Nice, nice. I like it. Except we got immediately pushed out by the frontals. I'm surprised we're not struggling with this pack at all. This pack would do a lot of damage, but we're actually living. Severing slice, we have to be a little bit careful of that. We did manage to parry it though. Yeah, this pack really sucks. Ideally, I would have skipped this pack, but this route's fine. It's working fine so far. We cheated here, our first cheat. That's fine. We could have used trees here too. Like, we had trees for how long? Let's see. Yeah, we've been sitting on trees for a while. We could have definitely used trees here instead of cheating here. Alright, so 30 minutes into the dungeon. We've got most of this trash done. I assume we're also skipping that 3-pack at the very end. So, should be fine. Play a song. Nice, I like it. Did we... Hold on, let me check something. Okay, we spike before going into the pull. And again, I say this every time. As a Demon Hunter, you don't need to jump straight into the pack. You can always just go in like a normal human being. But we took a bunch of melees just leaping in. We could also pop the shield on pull if we want. And we'll take a little bit less damage. Like, jump in, shield in spikes. Our team is getting destroyed by these bolts. That's also where we want our silence and beam a little earlier. And some focus kicks on these dark acolytes. Okay, now we're really struggling. We're running out of juice. We do have meta if we really want to use it, but ideally we want to head for the cadets, because we haven't pulled the cadets yet. These bleeds, you can also avoid if you know the cooldown on it. So in a high level group, you'll sometimes hear me always talking about like bleed in 3, 2, 1 or whatever, and then that's when everyone wants to move out of melee. The tank can avoid that too. Like, look how much damage we're taking from that bleed. Okay, so these cadets, they will destroy your tank. We got a Feldev really early here. Feldev? Oh my god, it's Monk S. We got trees at the same time. So it was a little bit overkill, but it's fine. These die pretty quick. Okay, now we're in trouble. Holy hell. These cadets are attacking us. All we have is spikes. We either have to meta here or we die. Oh my god. Okay, maybe it's not that bad on 18, but we are taking massive damage. Oh, we're trying to get Kyrian potions, I think. Wait, no. We have them already. So again, this pull is pretty dangerous. We definitely should have meta this pull. Okay, we got it up. So far, we definitely have a lot of potential to be doing a bit higher key level. Good night, Viva. Because I do notice we have a lot of room for error. We're going into a lot of these pulls without taking a ton of damage. We just need to play a little bit more clean. So we do have silence and beam up. Normally at this point, I would have pulled the next pack in. Oh, holy hell. But next pull is a bunch of acolytes, and they're not that dangerous if we have a bunch of AoE stops like silence and beam. We have Elsine Decree up too. And I often hear a lot of people talking about how they struggle in this whole gauntlet. I can definitely see how. I think it just needs to be managed a little bit better, and people underestimate the cadets. Because the cadets are usually the scariest part in this whole entire gauntlet. But we do a really good job of silencing, gripping, and beaming these. So if we want to save a little bit of time there, we could have used it on when we were fighting Call earlier. Like I was saying, we could have pulled Call into that pack and popped silence, beam, grip. Those are pretty good trees there too. So yeah, like again, I would like to see some kicks from our team here. These guys are just bolting everyone to death. We got 3 bleeds off too. Oh, that is not great. Our range should ideally never get the bleeds. Because range, you can literally just stand a couple yards back and you'll never get by the bleed. So we're definitely taking a lot of unnecessary damage. Can't see the healer's mana? Yeah, that's something I've noticed too. It's pretty bad not being able to see your healer's mana. As a tank, you should definitely always be seeing how much mana your healer has. Rogue as well, you can also max range this. Well, outlaw rogues, just because you can use your acrobatic strikes and never be in range. Okay, so this route needs us to fight this pack too. This pack actually really sucks. We have 2 animated weapons that we need to stop from these skirmishers, and we have bleed. Oh, this is gonna be so much damage. We might need a meta here. Or this weapon's gonna beat someone's ass. Okay, we meta this pull. That's fine. Nothing else past this is really that difficult to tank. So it's fine to be using the rest of our cooldowns here. Slice again. So I'm pretty sure we just don't know that we can dodge those bleeds, but being able to dodge those bleeds is a really big deal. Should you DPS call till she transitions? For time, yes. Because in terms of time here, you're always gated by call, not by the rest of the trash. Yeah, these bleeds, you want to be dodging. You want to just leap away when it's doing the Severing Slice cast. So this pull is pretty easy. We didn't need to pull this out, but that's fine. We could have just went in. Oh my god, we're actually taking so much damage as we speak. I said this pull's easy, but we're just getting destroyed. We could have used our shield here. Like, if we're just gonna go in, holy hell, we're getting destroyed. Trees, okay. Yeah, we could have shielded on pull with spikes. And brand. So we get pride here. It's nothing really to see. Killing pride out here. Here, I would have liked to move pride a little bit closer to the boss. We need to always be moving ahead. And you don't want to be moving the pride late, because when it gets late, that's when people start taking massive damage. Alright, last boss. Okay, we're just playing for DPS. Brand. Brand actually does a decent bit of single target damage too. Brand, Elsie, and Decree. Yo, look at the damage. Holy fug. Vengeance damage. Okay, there's really not too much to this. Tanking this boss is pretty easy unless it's necrotic. When it's necrotic, this boss is pretty bad, which is this week actually. Tyrannical necrotic. The boss melee is really fast for whatever reason. 2 minutes on the timer. This is easy in time. Next slide. Why is it lagging so much? Is it me? Think he needs a better computer. Oh, that was so danger. I think everyone got bled there. But the boss dies anyways after this. So, all in all, pretty good job. I think for things we need to work on is we need to think about our cooldowns a little more. As a Demon Hunter, it's really important to know when and where you want to be using your meta and where you want to be cheating. We only cheated once and we actually didn't die this dungeon, so that means that we definitely have room for doing whether it's a 19 or 20. We're doing really good damage too. Like, I think this is the biggest strength of Demon Hunter. When you're doing these key levels where you can just like face tank packs, we do so much damage. And ideally, I want to be tracking more stuff here. I want to be able to see the cooldowns on mobs more. But we do have really good basics, like we're doing pretty good.